Hello everybody, welcome into the Truth Serum everybody. Joey the Truth Wagner with you friends. It is the best time of year, the best playoffs of the year. Buckle up everybody, it's time for the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Which means it's time for my Stanley Cup Playoff bracket. So everybody, right now the NHL regular season is not over yet, but it's pretty much locked in with how the playoff teams are going to be. So this is what it looks like it'll be. Penguins, Islanders, Capitals, Bruins, Hurricanes, Predators, Panthers, Lightning, Maple Leafs, Canadiens, Oilers, Jets, Vegas and the Blues, Colorado, and Minnesota across all four divisions. Folks, let's get down to it. First round, Mass Mutual East Division. We'll start with the Penguins and the Islanders. Friends, what a year it's been for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They were really bad to start the year. Defense struggled, goaltending struggled. Only won one game in regulation in their first 10. But they rebounded to win the division and get the top seed in the East. And with that, they'll get the Islanders. Folks, Islanders, they've really had a rough past month. Haven't played great hockey, but they are in the playoffs, and they are always a threat with their structure and their defense. Folks, back in 2019, the Islanders swept the Penguins in a 4-game series. But friends, this year, the Penguins had a lot of success against the Islanders. It looks like they solved their system a bit. Penguins playing smarter hockey. They won 6 of 8. In this series, I will go with Pittsburgh to beat New York. Sidney Crosby, too much. The third line of Jeff Carter, too much. And the Penguins are much more structured up and playing how Mike Sullivan wants them to play. I think the Penguins get it done round 1. Next up, Capitals and the Bruins, the 2-3 matchup in the East. Friends, the last week and a half has been really goofy for the Washington Capitals. They've been without Alexander Ovechkin, their top player. Their last game on Saturday, Nicholas Backstrom, their top center, was out. John Carlson, their top defenseman, was out. TJ Oshie left the game. And they've also been without their number 1 goaltender, Ilya Samsonov. He's in COVID protocol, so is Evgeny Kuznetsov. So a lot of injuries on the front for Washington. Now everybody, Boston, they've been starting to hit their stride. They've been hitting their stride here over the last 2-3 weeks. Getting Taylor Hall, playing well at the deadline. Boston always strong defensively. Tuukka Rask really good. And in this series, friends, I'm going to go with the Boston Bruins to beat Washington. It won't be easy, but Boston is trending up right now, and I trust Boston's goaltending a lot better than I do Washington's with Samsonov, Vanacek, and Craig Anderson. Boston will win. Next up, let's go to the Central Division. Top-seeded Carolina Hurricanes. They got the break in this division as they play the Nashville Predators, the 4 seed. Folks, Carolina this year was dominant. Dominant from start to finish. One of the best in the league from start to finish. Nashville, just lucky they sniffed the playoffs. This screams short series all over it. Carolina is a heavy puck possession team. They control that puck. Excellent offense from the blue line. Sebastian Aho, really good. The only way Nashville has a chance in this series is if Pekka Rinne and or UC Saros plays out of their minds, but I don't think that's going to happen. Carolina pretty quickly in this series, 4 to 5 games. Next up here, this has the makings of a classic series. Panthers, Lightning, Battle of Florida. Both teams are great. Florida is the 2 seed, Tampa the 3. And folks, it's been really encouraging to see what Florida has done this year. But I'm going to go with the team with the high-end talent, the playoff experience, the Stanley Cup pedigree. The Tampa Bay Lightning will win this series in 7. We got Vasilevsky, great in goal. Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov coming back from injuries to start the playoffs. So Tampa Bay is going to have their full complement of players here And also with Florida, you never know how Sergei Bobrovsky is going to be in the playoffs. Remember, folks, me being a Penguin fan and calling Penguin series, I've called a couple of playoff series with Sergei Bobrovsky in goal for Columbus, and he wasn't great. So it is a concern. I'll go Tampa. Next, let's move on to the Canadian division. Maple Leafs, Montreal. Folks, the only way Montreal has a chance in this series is if Carey Price does what he did against the Penguins last year and steal that series by himself. Do I think that's going to happen? No. The talent gap between Toronto and Montreal is night and day. I'll go with Maple Leafs in 6. Next up here in the first round, we have the Edmonton Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets. Oh dear gosh, if you love offense, this is a series for you. Got Connor McDavid, 100 points in 53 games. Leon Draisaitl as well going at it against Winnipeg. Folks, the goaltending edge here goes to Winnipeg with Connor Hellebuyck. I like him a lot more than I do Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith. But folks, these two teams have played all year long, and no one can stop Connor McDavid. No one can stop him. I'm going Edmonton because of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and their high-powered offense. Next up, let's go to the West Division. We'll start with Vegas and St. Louis. Vegas has been top to bottom a deep, deep elite team this year. St. Louis has been getting it together. The Cup champs from 2019 have been getting it together. I just think that Vegas is too good, too deep, two great goaltenders. They're great from top to bottom. Vegas will dispose of the Blues. Last up, the 2-3 matchup in the West. Colorado playing the Wild. Folks, boy, have the Wild surprised this year. I never thought they'd be this good, to be honest with you. They've been a really good hockey team. But I'm going to go with Colorado. Folks, from year's start, Colorado has been in my top 3 to win the Stanley Cup from the start of the season. I love their roster. I love McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen. They have Cale Makar on the back end. They're just a really, really, really good hockey team. And if their goaltending with Philip Grubauer can be healthy, I think they can take that big leap. But I'll go Colorado. So there it is, folks. First round. Pittsburgh, Boston, Carolina, Tampa, Toronto, Edmonton, Vegas, and Colorado. And that'll set up for these matchups in round 2. Penguins in Boston, Hurricanes in Tampa, Toronto and Edmonton, Vegas and Colorado. Boy, that Vegas-Colorado matchup in the second round is going to be unbelievable. So there it is, folks. The table has been set for the second round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. And now, folks, here it is, second round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs in the bracket. Let's start with the East. We'll go with the Penguins and the Bruins series. Folks, out of all of the matchups in the East Division for the Pittsburgh Penguins, the team that scares me the most for Pittsburgh is Boston. During the season, the Penguins lost 5 of 8 meetings with the Bruins. And folks, with how the Penguins' style of play is, the Bruins are just a bad matchup. I think the Penguins are an incredibly talented team. But Boston, as it has for years, they're just a bad matchup. They're big. And when Tuukka Rask gets hot, good luck, you can't beat him. So this is the series that really concerns me. And folks, I want the Penguins to win more than anybody. I really do. I really do. But folks, my nickname isn't the liar. It's the truth. So I gotta be honest with you here. I think the Penguins lose this series in 7 games to Boston. I think the Bruins beat the Penguins in 7 games in the second round. And it breaks my heart to say it. It will be a close series. It'll be a tough series. The Penguins and the Bruins, they've played close this year. They've played tough. So it can go either way. It really can. But I'm going to go with Boston because I trust the goaltending of Tuukka Rask more than I do of Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith. And I think Jarry and DeSmith are really good. But Tuukka Rask can get to that extraterrestrial level in the playoffs, and he's just unbeatable. So with Boston's physicality and their structure and their goaltending, I'm going with Boston over Pittsburgh. Pains me to say. Next up, we'll go to the Central, where we have Carolina facing Tampa Bay. And what a great series this is going to be, folks. 2 of the top 5 teams in the league. Holy smokes, this is going to be a great series. This is like Stanley Cup final caliber stuff here in the second round. But folks, I'm going to go with Tampa. I think their ceiling offensively is higher than Carolina's. Especially with Stamkos and Kucherov and Point. They're just stacked. And I trust Tampa's goaltending more than Carolina's. Carolina's goaltending has been, over the years, a little odd. And a little underwhelming. And I think that's just enough of a hole for Tampa Bay to squeeze through, and Tampa will win this series, move on to the conference finals. Next up, we have Toronto and Edmonton. Now, folks, this series here, Toronto-Edmonton, this is going to be like Penguins-Flyers in 2012, when the scores were like 8-5, 10-3, 8-4, 7-6. These games are going to be wackadoodle, offensive crazy. Because both teams aren't really good at defense. They're not. Both teams are not good at defense. But I'm going to go with Toronto. Because I feel they have the deeper roster. And I think they have the better goaltender. Frederik Andersen, coming back off an injury, is better than Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen. So I'll go with Toronto, not only to win 1 playoff series, but to win 2. And last off, we have a Stanley Cup final preview here. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche. These teams are phenomenal. They are Stanley Cup caliber teams. And this is going to be a great matchup. This is going to be great. Vegas has the top seed, so they have home ice. I expect this series to go the full 7 games. So Vegas would be at home in Game 7. And everyone, both of these teams are fantastic. But I'm going to go with Vegas because of the home ice advantage. And because they have the better goaltending. They have Robin Lehner and Marc-Andre Fleury. Colorado has Philip Grubauer and meh. So I'll go with Vegas here. To win in the second round. And everyone, my final 4 teams are Boston, Tampa, Toronto, Vegas. And folks, this is where it gets a little freaky. With the rules this season for the NHL playoffs, these teams will now be reseeded as part of where they were ranked in the regular season in terms of points. Team with the most points becomes the 1, second most 2, 3, and then down to 4. So stay tuned to find out what the conference final matchups will be in the playoff bracket. And now, folks, after the reseeding was done, you can see in the middle of the page here how the reseeding was done. The matchups would end up being Boston in Vegas and Toronto in Tampa Bay. Now, folks, some matchups you'd usually never see, but alas, here they are. Let's start with it. Toronto and Tampa Bay. Folks, what a great season by Tampa Bay and by Toronto as they're battling here for a trip to the Stanley Cup final on the line. Now, folks, Toronto is all offense, no defense. Tampa Bay is both. Tampa Bay is the complete team, offense and defense. And that's why I'm picking the Lightning to defeat the Maple Leafs. Folks, Tampa Bay has a great back end. Victor Hedman, Sergachev, McDonough, Chernow. You could go on and on and on. Plus their offensive skill talent, plus Andrei Vasilevsky. Tampa Bay is just the better team here. Toronto will be fun, and they'll make it a fun series. But Tampa Bay is winning this series. I don't think that's really up for debate here. And now on the opposite side of the bracket, Boston and Vegas. Folks, Boston is like a team out of the Western Conference. So if you like big, physical, rustle-tussle, drop the gloves, smash-mouth hockey, you're going to love this series between the Bruins and the Golden Knights. Folks, this is going to be a really defensively minded series. The structure is going to be strong, but I'm going to go with Vegas. I just have a hunch here about Vegas. They're just really, really good. I love their depth. Pietrangelo on the back end. What a signing that was in free agency. Folks, and if there's just a team that can take Boston out, I think it's Vegas. I love what Vegas does. I love how they play, how they structure their roster. They're just a great club. They're just a great club, and Vegas makes it back to the Stanley Cup final. Second time in 4 seasons as an organization. So battling for the Stanley Cup, 2 mega elites in the NHL, Tampa Bay and Vegas. And now, folks, the battle for the Stanley Cup. 2 perennial contenders, year in, year out. The depth, insane. Offensive talent and defensive structure and ability as well. The goaltending is great. These 2 teams are stacked from top to bottom in this Yale's classic 7-game series all over it, between last year's defending champs and the Vegas Golden Knights. Going to be a great series. It's going to be really, really good. And folks, this was one I really struggled with on picking the winner of. I love Tampa Bay and what they do. I love Vegas and what they do. But folks, I am going with the Vegas Golden Knights to win the Stanley Cup. Because folks, they don't have as many games on the legs over the past 2 years. Folks, remember Tampa, whole season last year, all the way to the Stanley Cup. This year, full season, short off season, condensed. Vegas had more downtime on their legs. And to get to this far for Tampa Bay, they're going to be exhausted. Just like the Penguins were exhausted in the 2017 Cup final. The Penguins beat Nashville, but the Penguins were completely gassed in their second go-around at winning the Cup. And I think by this point, Tampa's going to be really, really gassed, and Vegas is going to have that extra oomph to become the Cup champions for the first time ever. So folks, my 2021 Stanley Cup champions will be Marc-Andre Fleury and the Vegas Golden Knights. They will win the Cup this year, and they will turn Vegas into a frenzy. So there you have it, everybody. There's my bracket from start to finish. We start with 16 teams. We end up with 1. That 1 team is the Vegas Golden Knights. Everybody would really appreciate if you could click the like button on the video so I know so that you enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel. Everyone, this bracket will be up on the NHL.com website for the bracket challenge when it's opened. To join in my group, search the group, Joey the Truth Wagner. Join in with your bracket, because I want to see how you do and what your matchups are. From the Truth Serum, everybody, Joey the Truth Wagner signing off. Enjoy your week. And the Stanley Cup Playoffs begin right here with the Penguins live in the Truth Serum on Saturday.